He was 22 years old, a massive underdog, and about to shock the entire sport. February 1964, Sonny Liston was the most feared heavyweight on earth, a wrecking machine who'd flattened his last two opponents in a combined 4 minutes. Almost nobody gave the loud, cocky challenger a chance. 6 rounds later, Liston sat on his stool, refused to answer the bell, and it was over. The challenger ran to the ropes screaming, "I am the greatest! I shook up the world!" The next morning, he dropped a second bombshell. He was leaving the name Cassius Clay behind. From now on, the world would know him as Muhammad Ali. But to understand how he got there, you have to go back further, to a stolen bicycle. 12 years old, growing up in segregated Louisville, Kentucky, a kid named Cassius had his bike stolen outside a store. Furious, he told a police officer he was going to find whoever did it and beat them up. That officer happened to be a boxing coach, and he had one piece of advice: learn how to fight first. 6 weeks later, Cassius won his first amateur bout. By 18, he was an Olympic gold medalist. By 22, he was heavyweight champion of the world. 3 years into his reign, at the height of his fame, Ali was drafted into the U.S. military for the war in Vietnam. He refused to go. Citing his religious beliefs, he said he had no quarrel with the people of Vietnam. Within hours of his refusal, boxing officials stripped him of his title and banned him from the sport. He was convicted, sentenced to 5 years in prison, and stayed out on bond for years while he appealed. 3 years. His prime fighting years, gone. Not because he lost in the ring, but because he wouldn't put on a uniform. He'd eventually be proven right in the eyes of the law. The Supreme Court would overturn his conviction, but by then, the damage to his career was already done. Nobody hands you back your 20s. In 1970, his boxing license was finally reinstated. He came back, older, slower, but still Ali. By 1974, most people thought he was finished. He was 32, considered washed up, and about to face George Foreman, a champion 10 years younger, undefeated, and terrifying. The fight was booked in Kinshasa, Zaire. Almost everyone expected Ali to get hurt. Instead, he did something nobody predicted. Round after round, he let Foreman punch himself tired, leaning back against the ropes, absorbing blow after blow. By round 8, Foreman had nothing left. Ali dropped him with a combination that ended it. The washed-up underdog was heavyweight champion of the world. Again. Ali kept fighting for years after that, including one final brutal battle with old rival Joe Frazier in Manila that he later said felt like the closest thing to dying. He retired in 1981, having won the title an unprecedented 3 separate times. 3 years later, at just 42 years old, doctors diagnosed him with Parkinson's disease. His hands, once the fastest in boxing, began to shake. His voice, once unstoppable, slowed to barely a whisper. To this day, doctors still debate how much of it came from the disease itself and how much came from decades of punches absorbed in the ring. In 1996, the world saw him one more time. Trembling, he lifted the Olympic torch at the Atlanta Games and lit the flame. The same hands that once shook up the world. He passed away in 2016 at the age of 74. He was the loudest man in boxing, the most punished man in boxing, and by the end, one of the most beloved men in the world. And that's how Muhammad Ali made history. If you liked this one, subscribe to see who's next.